Okay. So whichever data on which I need a subtotal, I will first sort the data based on that. So in this case, it was product. So what I did, I clicked on the product column and clicked on A to Z. Okay.
Okay.
Now, based on this, select the data, go to subtotal. Where is subtotal? In the data tab
Data.
in the
Yeah.
corner, there is a subtotal. Here I need to specify at each change in what? At each change in product. What function do I want? I want a sum. It can be average, it can be max, it can be min, whatever. And add total to. Total to what? The amount. So it will add 2 plus 2417 plus 7431 plus 6946 plus 1161 plus 7602, etc. Okay. And
Okay.
at the bottom, replace current subtotals. Whatever is there, it will replace that. And there's a summary below data. If I untick it, I will get the totals above the data like this. So the grand total is at the top. I get the apple total. I get the banana total. I get a beans total. I get a broccoli total. I get a carrots total. It is all at the top, orange total, and so on. If I expand this, I will get this.
Okay.
If I expand this, I will get this.
Okay.
Okay. Now, one question that you may have is, why are we doing this kind of sorting first? The reason being, if I don't do the sorting, suppose I were to, just undo this again. And now suppose I want a country-wise total without doing the sorting. What's going to happen is, if I do this subtotal, it will still give me a total country-wise of the amount, and it will say okay. But see what happens. I get a France total, I get a Canada total, again I get a France total. Do you see this?
Yes.
Why is that happening? Because this formula says at each change in country. That means whenever there is a change in the value of country, at that point of time, show me the total.
Okay.
When I'm doing the sorting, what the system does is, system will sort it out and have all the France items together, or all the US items together, all the data items together. So if I want to do a country-wise sorting, I should first do a sort on this. It can be reverse also, doesn't matter. It can be alphabetic, or it can be reverse, ascending, alphabetic, or reverse alphabetic, whatever. And then we say subtotal at each change in country, sum, amount, replace sound, and say okay. Now see, it gives you the similar data, country-wise total. Do you get it?
Yes.
Now, this again depends on what you need ultimately, how you want to present your data and how you want to show it. Based on that, you may have to use different formats. Okay. And sometimes, in your case, you might have it client-wise, you might have it branch-wise, or you might have it, whatever terms pertain to your business. Now, when I'm doing the subtotal, there is one, but all these things can remain the same. There is something different. It's called page break between groups. What this will do is, if I do a page break here, it will give me country wise. For every country, the data will be on a different page. Do you see this? It's all US, 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 US. When it comes to UK, it starts on a brand new page. So there is a page break between the data. So even if it is, New Zealand is so small, doesn't matter, but it will give you on a separate page.
Okay.
So if I do a quick preview, you will see the data like this. I see the country US, US. Now see UK starts on a new page. Again, I go and move down, New Zealand on a new page. Germany, France, Canada, Australia, they are all on separate pages. Why? Because we said page break between groups.
Okay.
So this page break between groups has been selected. That is why.
Okay.
Do you see this?
Yes.
So if I come back to this is how the data was. And that is how I got a subtotal. Now, when I collapse this, it's going to show me only the United States, only the United Kingdom, only the New Zealand, only the Germany, only the France, Canada, and so on. Okay.
Understood.
So this is how my data was originally. So I'm just reverting back to my data. Now from here, we will go to pivot table. So in pivot table, pivot table, however we want to call it. So
I wanted to understand one thing, sir.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of subtotal in the sense, like if I have a huge chunk of, things that it will going to summarize it if I just have to pick up few of the things out of it. So that is how it works.
Yes. The purpose of subtotal is from a big data, you're getting a total based on product or category or date or country, depending on whatever you want.
So that will later on help me if I just wanted to make a pivot. I will go ahead and
No, actually
use it
pivot will be used from the original table. We'll not use the subtotal at all.
Okay.
We will always use pivot from the original source data.
Okay.
This was, you can say, before pivot table came in, Excel had introduced this kind of a subtotal. Now there are some advantages also, like, if you want to present it in this manner, okay, the way it is being shown, pivot table probably doesn't show it in the way it was showing. Okay. So we'll see that in a few minutes. But pivot table is very popular, widely used, because you can do the summary or the subtotal based on multiple columns in pivot table. But in subtotal, you could only do it either country wise or product wise or category.
But then again, these categories are predefined, right? You are doing it on the predefined thing. It might change in my table because based on my work
data,
things.
you tell me what data you want, I'll do it on your data. Doesn't matter.
Okay, understood.
Right. So data can be anything.
Okay.
So if you have any particular data that you want me to show it, you will.
I have never used this option before. I mean, this is
Okay.
obviously I'm learning for the first time.
Pivot table. Have you used pivot tables?
Pivot I am using currently.
What kind of data do you use? Tell me.
Say since we have, I told you we have 4 regions, and the 4 regions has various Blue Dot offices.
Okay.
New
Zonal.
Blue Dot offices. Yeah.
What do you call
Blue
it?
Dot
Offices?
No, we call it NBDO, that is a New Blue Dart offices, which is actually the courier offices of
Okay.
by Blue Dart, where you
Okay.
can go and courier your things and all. So
Okay.
this is by the company itself. It's not the
Okay.
franchisee or
Okay.
something.
Okay.
So each region has multiple NBDOs,
Okay.
that is New Blue Dart offices. So I
And
have to make a kind of NBDO report wherein I have to calculate the revenue sale, per day sale,
okay.
and how many NBDOs has done the business,
Okay.
and what is the total count of NBDOs in each active NBDOs. I mean, there are a lot of inactive NBDOs are also there.
True.
So active NBDO count, revenue per day sale, MTD, month to date sale, how many pieces of NBDO has built on per day basis, and
Okay.
obviously month to date
Now,
basis.
when you're getting the raw data, right?
Hmm.
So raw
Hmm.
data can be like region, NBDO.
Hmm.
Give me some names of NBDO in East. Just 3, 4, or we can
Uh,
do any other terms that you want to use.
that's actually basically some codes.
Okay.
I don't
Don't.
know about
Okay. Let's say
the code.
A001 or E001. Let's say.
Yeah, we can do it like that way.
Okay. E002 or
Mhm.
0002 and so on. And here we'll say A001. So what will ideally happen is every transaction that you are entering or the raw data that is coming in, that will
Mhm.
have the region and the NVDO. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So do you know how to fill this up quickly? How do you do this? Suppose you have this east, west, north, south, and you want to fill all this with east, this with north, west, this with north, this with south. How do you do that? Hmm?
Dragging it. Dragging
Dragging
it.
it. Now, if you drag this,
No,
everything
I
becomes
will not going to drag till west. Obviously, I'm going to drag above one
4
line
times,
west.
right? You do
Yeah.
it 4 times. Okay. There is another
Yeah.
easier way. Uh, this is easy because you have 4. What you if you have 50, right?
True.
So then in that case, you can use this.
This is which, like, how did you went
I'll
to
show
this
you.
form?
I'll just show you one minute. So I have this data which I'm selecting.
Mhm.
Then I'll do a Control G. It goes to special. I select the blanks. So only the blanks get selected. Okay.
Okay.
And then I can say equal to this. And then when I drag this, oops, This one basically what it does is it should it will copy the ones from above actually. So right now, right now I'm doing it this way. I'll show this to you. Right now I'm not recalling exactly, but normally what should happen is everything should get we should be able to fill this up at one shot. Okay, I'll show that to you in a few minutes. Then here what other information you will get? Let's say do you get an order number or something like that? This is the raw data, remember. Then what else do you need?
I need the daily number of pieces count.
Okay.
And number of like based on those number of pieces, how much is the per day
Amount.
sale?
Okay. This is per day,
And
right?
yeah, this is per day. There is also a month to date as well.
Okay. A month to date will come in a few minutes. Now, this one, when you do this, so let's say, if you remember, we had that fill series, right? So
Yeah.
we can quickly do that, or you can do it based on. Right now, I'm doing it across all the dates. Okay. And I'll do it month wise so that we'll get some different years and months also. And number of pieces should be like 100, 200.
Yeah. Yeah.
1,000.
Number of pieces varies from each center to center.
Okay,
Like some
on an
center
average,
does
just give an
20.
average.
Yeah. Some centers does 30, some does
Okay.
25, some does 50.
Okay, something like this. And amount can be like, let's say, so I have region, I have MPDO, I have order number, I have dates, I have number of pieces, amount, and you said MTD. So I am ignoring MTD for now. So because that will come out of my pivot table. Okay, so that is the reason I'm ignoring.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So let's,
Since we have not done the month to date, that's obviously because it's the monthly basis we are touching base the different dates. So that's okay.
Yes. So here, not only month to date, you will get quarterly, you will get yearly, you will get everything in one shot. So I do this insert, okay, and I first select the source. I go to the pivot table, and this range would be
Obviously.
selected.
Yeah, this I know. Yes, this I
Okay.
know.
Now, here I will first put it into the existing worksheet so that I can see the data right next to it. I can also put it in a separate sheet, and then I say okay. Right. So
yeah,
let's say I wanted region wise, I wanted MBDO wise. So if I put MBDO on the right, or I put it on the column side, either way, depending on my choice, right? Or I can put a filter on regions, right? And I can do an, let's say, amount of pieces. So I get a sum of number of pieces. Okay. And if I wanted something like a date wise, okay. So here, when I'm going this route, you will see here that my 2021 is there. Okay. If I expand it, I get a quarter wise breakup. If I expand this, I get a month wise breakup.
Yeah.
Now here, this is 20 because there's only one January. Suppose I were to have another January here. On the second, and I do 15, and then I can just come here, refresh it, my data gets updated. So I have 20 in Jan, 15 in Feb. This is the MTD that you're talking about?
Yeah.
What would be your presentation of the data? Would the regions come here along with the...
No, what I get is like, since I make the report, okay. So I get the data from IT of,
like this.
all NVIDIA offices.
Like
okay.
This is your raw data.
No, only the NVIDIA, like E001.
You don't get
like
region.
this.
Okay.
No, I don't get the region.
Okay.
So what I have to do is, and also I get a, another column which states about the regions.
Okay.
And it is in a jumbled way, like there is no parity.
Okay.
So I have to then take out the count from the branch wise.
Okay. So branch is your region or NVIDIA?
Branch is my region.
Region. Okay. So we can call it branch in that case.
Yeah.
And you get along with NVIDIA, you get the state, you said, right?
Yes, I get the state. I get the state, and I get the NVIDIA offices. In like sometimes it comes like BBR, some JSD, like this way. Like
those
it's a short form of like like Jharkhand. There is obviously short forms like that. So I have to then take out the count, like number of count of the NVIDIA offices against the branch. Like East has maybe 180 NVIDIA active NVIDIA office.
Okay.
CCO has 180. RBO has 45.
So this is CCO, like this. You said, right? RBO.
Yeah.
Okay, like this. And then from how do you get the state?
State, I don't get the state actually.
You don't need it also, right?
I don't need the state. I need only the branch and the NVIDIAs.
Okay, so branch, how do you derive? Manually.
Branch we derived as a CCU, ATA.
Okay, those are the branches.
ATA is ATA is basically the charter. Like this is by the charter flights, because we have flights.
Yes.
Our own flights.
Yes.
CCU, RBO. RBO is basically two states merged together. RBO is basically our Bhubaneswar and Shiliguri branch. We termed it as RBO.
Okay. So would this be a better definition rather than giving it as...
I don't mind. No, that's completely fine. So I don't mind at all.
Okay.
I wanted to understand how the pivot functions, because pivot is something which I have learned in this company. I have not touched base pivot before any time.
Okay. So good. So and now
only for this report only I have to work pivot. I don't have to work pivot for any other things.
Okay.
And that is also once in a month time.
Okay.
Because at that time I get the active NVIDIAs, because this is one time, like every month the NVIDIA counts change for entire East region.
Right.
So I just have to take one time because this is for the entire month. Say, suppose we have 202 active NVIDIAs with us for this month. So this remains same, which is only I have to do it once in a month.
So 202, when you say, how do you get the count of the active NVIDIAs?
That is what I have to take it out from the pivot.
Okay. How do you do it from the pivot?
So I obviously go ahead and open the pivot and I take the branch and NVIDIA in rows and values, and then that's how I get it.
Okay. So like you drag the NVIDIA or the branch into the values and you get a count, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. And so here, based on your, like you were saying, if I need this as the branch, let's say, okay. Any other branches you can tell me now? RBO, CCU,
RPB,
RPD,
ATA.
ATA. Okay. Okay. Now, if I were to do this from here, from the filters, I can easily, branch wise, I want to look at the data in more detail. You have used filters, have you?
No, I have not used filters.
Okay. So what filters basically do is, like where you have these branches and all the data, if you were to put a filter using the branch, then your entire pivot table can be filtered out. For example, you want to look at only the ATAs or you want to look at the CCUs. You want to say, okay, CCUs, this is the total business done based on the data for the period, whatever we have. And if you want to look at all of them, you get all the data. Or if you want to do just RBO, you get this. So this helps you to work with a filtered set of data. The data filtering is happening from your pivot table, based on your pivot table. Okay. Now, when you do this filter, this is one way that you can do a filter. The other option is here, when you go to this design, there is something called a slicer.
Slicer. Okay.
Yes, there is something called a slicer. Slicer is nothing but a visual way of doing it. Suppose you were doing it on a pad, okay, like an iPad or a Samsung pad or whatever you're using. You can, there it is difficult to use a mouse, right? And it becomes a bit cumbersome. So you can use this because it does the same thing of filtering. So I want to look at the ATA data, it will give me the ATA. See, the branch here is also changing. I want to look at the RPD data. This will show me the RPD data, along with the breakups, where the data was, which quarter, which month, and all that breakup is there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And along with this, if I want the same, if I want multiple things, then I have to enable this one where multi-select, and then I can look at ATA and RBO. So multiple items are here. See, it says multiple items. Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know these multiple items belong to which branch or which column? If I were to drag this here, I will get it
I
here.
always face this issue with, where to put across. Like, should I put across in columns? Should I put across on rows, or maybe in value?
Cross
This is
meaning?
always I face the issue.
Cross meaning?
Sorry?
What do you mean by cross?
Like, this thing does cross in my mind. I mean,
okay,
like, what should I do?
Okay. See, there are no general rules. The guiding principle here is whatever looks good. Okay. For example, if you look at the data here, you have so many NBDOs here. If I were to put it on a column, the table becomes very wide.
Yeah.
So it looks a bit odd. Nothing wrong in that. It just looks a bit odd. For example, if I look at, if I don't do a filter, instead I put a branch here and I do a NBDO here, see how wide the Excel sheet becomes?
Yeah, it is.
So that's a bit cumbersome. I would rather do it the other way around, that I would put a, NBDO, maybe I will put it over here and the branches over here. And let me remove the dates. Okay, so see, this one looks much neater, isn't it? What do you think?
Obviously, it looks very. That is the pivot is actually basically comprised, like compressing the data in a more neater way.
Right. That's it. It's basically summarization of your data, and
exactly
in a way that makes it easier for people to read.
Yeah, it looks very clear in front of your eyes.
Exactly. That's why that visual part is very important when it comes to. Okay, now when we click on this pivot table here and I click on this analyze, I showed you this slicer, right?
Yeah.
There is also something called as a timeline. For example, if I have this date here as one of the columns, I get the date like this. I can insert a column and insert timeline and use date as my, like a slider. Okay, so you can have something like, I want to see only, don't want to see 23 data, and I only want to see, let's say 21 data.
Okay. This comes in the options.
Yes, comes in
okay.
the options. So you can just keep dragging this, and you can see the dates at the top also. September to February, March, April, May, June, July.
But
August.
once suppose if I stop at February, how the pivot will look?
So this is how the data will look.
Okay.
So here you have the data. So you can slide and make your data smaller between only 21. So you have only the data for 21. See, no 22 or no 23, although you have data for 2022 and 2023.
Yeah. And if suppose if I drag it till 2023, like any of the month of 2023, how it will look?
So I get now, I've only stopped at 22.
Okay, I get it.
So slowly more data gets included. Now see, if I look at 22 data, it looks Q1, Q2, Q3. No Q4, because I stopped in October. October, November, December. Moment I scroll over or move across, then it will start showing the remaining. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Next, suppose I do this here. These are the other stuff. Like sometimes what happens if I click outside the pivot table, this this is called the pivot table fields. This field list disappears, right? If I click this, the
Then
pivot
again it
table
comes back.
tools comes back. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes you might find if this is unchecked, even if you have clicked outside, it's gone. When you click inside, it still doesn't come on.
Okay. Okay.
That is because here the field list is not enabled. When I enable it, only then it will behave the way we usually expect it to. Along with this, you see these pluses and minuses, this plus sign, minus sign. Sometimes it looks a bit weird. So I might want to do away with it. So these pluses and minuses are gone. It looks more like a table now. Then regarding the field headers, I don't want the field headers. So it looks more like a regular table. Right? And if I want to use this, and I can then have this design. This is the design. Suppose I want the table to be blue and white, so I have the white borders and things like that. I can do it. Then along with this, or this looks a bit too harsh, something, whatever you feel like as per your wish, you can do it. And if this might be a little more better. And along with this, there is something called as banded rows. Banded rows means your alternate rows will be colored.
Okay.
You see this?
Kind of, upgraded version of conditional formatting.
Yeah, something like that. Let me show this here, it will be better. So if I remove this banded row, see all the rows, they appear in the same color. You might want them in alternate colors. So this one is a deeper shade, this one is a lighter shade. Right?
Yeah.
One by one, they are coming. Then instead of rows, I might want the banded columns. In that case, it will appear like this. So you have the columns. Okay. So you can pick a banded column format based on the format. Now this is banded in a columnar fashion. All the columns are now deeply shaded.
Okay.
Now see, I can switch between the rows or the columns. All right. I don't want the row headers. Row headers will disappear. I don't want the column headers. They can also disappear based on my the pivot table style options. So these are called as the pivot table styles, and I can use the format that I want. Along with this, you can have a, like you have the grand total here. Grand total, you don't want it. You want it off for rows and columns, so the grand total goes away. You don't want the grand total, but you want a grand total maybe on for rows and columns, on for rows, on for columns. So if I just want the column wise total, I'll get a grand total at the bottom of each column. And system will do that for you. You don't have to do anything for that. Or you want a subtotal. So it will work out a subtotal and show you the subtotals as well, based on the data. See, this is a Q3 total. You see this? So that's a subtotal. You have Q3 total. or based on data that you have Q1. This is the total Q1, Q2, Q3, whatever things you need, system will show you the data accordingly. Subtotals, show all subtotals at the top of the group, or you want to not show subtotals, so it will not show you the subtotals at all.
Okay.
Then you have the report layout. Report layout, this is the compact form. You can have it in outline form, slightly different, and show in tabular format. These really between them, there's not here. See, every column, this 2022 is getting repeated. Okay, 88 2022. This is obtained by, if I come to this show in tabular form, repeat all item labels. These are called as the item labels. So if I don't want it to be repeated, I will click on this. So the repeats will go away. ATA, ATA, ATA. These two are ATAs, right? And this one is 2022. So I can use this. Do you get it?
Yes.
So these, the behavior or the design, I should say, of this is easily, it can be easily done in this way. Now, I'll ask you a question. Suppose you want that the data for each of the offices, you are calling them offices, right? The RBDOs and
yes, new Blue Dart offices.
Yeah, NBDOs. Say
Yeah.
all the NBDOs data for every tab, or for every month, or for every quarter, or for every year, you want it on separate worksheets. How do you do it? Do you have to do that?
I told you, I don't even have to do it. I mean, this is the only data I work, and I work only to extract this one information, which is the
you get
count.
this, you make this table and you send it. Is that it?
Yeah, no, I just have to pick that number, that NVDO count, and that count remains entire for entire month. It remains same. That is 202.
Okay. Okay.
So
Now
I just have to then work on the normal Excel sheet to, you know, make per day NVDO sale, number of pieces. So this is one thing which I do every month. Apart from that, I have not worked with pivot table before.
Okay. Okay. Now the reason I was asking is, suppose you want a breakup of the NBDOs. Okay, the data you wanted broken by every NBDO. Okay, in that case, what you can do, you have this filter here. Then there is the other tab here called Analyze. Go to this option, and this one says Show Report Filter Pages. What it will do is, for all the NBDOs, it will split out the data for you. You see this? So whatever data we have, it has split it out for you, NBDO wise, because NBDO was one of the filters here.
Okay.
There are companies where people have to split the data out across NBDOs. And they have to do this manually. Go to each NBDO, filter it, copy it, put it in a separate sheet. Again, go back to the original one, the original table, copy it, filter it, copy it, put it in another sheet. But you don't really need to do that.
Okay.
Excel can do that for you. If ever you need to split this out, whether it is NBDO wise or any other ways, okay, all that you need to do is Okay. Now when I go back, suppose I don't want it NPDO wise, what other data we had? We had order date.
We had date, we had number of pieces.
Yeah, and branch, right? So suppose you want it branch wise. So I'll remove this and I'll put branch as a filter. So I have the 4 branches here. Then how did I do that? I went to this. So you have pivot table tools. So at the top, you have analyze. Then you click on options. Okay, in this corner, options, and then you have show report filter pages. Click on this. System will show you based on what. These are the branches. So it will split out the data for you in separate branches. Okay, so this one helps you to segregate the data based on the filter. These are just, maybe this is giving you some ideas in future. If ever you need to do this, you can use these also without having to do them in any other way.
Okay.
Okay. Now, along with this sheet, here you have the normal pivot table. You can create pivot charts out of this.
Okay.
To give you an indication of what kind of graphs, like picture says 1,000 words, right? So it's like that. So you can always create a graph like this out of the pivot table that you are having.
Yes.
So that is just to give you some kind of, and you have these filters here. If someone wants to do a filter based on the years, they can just choose 2021 and you get the data for 2021 in the graph itself. Okay. And within this, if you want all the quarters, it's fine. Suppose you want to only see 21, we are in the 4th quarter, let's say. So it's only the 4th quarter.
Can this bar can be fixed in a sheet? I mean, if somebody opens, if they don't alter it or edit it, can we make it fixed to a certain place?
Fix in the sense non-editable?
Yes.
You don't want it to be editable?
I don't want it to be editable. I don't want any altercation on the sheet.
On this sheet itself?
Yes.
Yeah, if that is, if it is entire sheet, you can protect the sheet. You can give a password. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that I know, that you showed to us.
So
in
once
the first
you do
class.
this, then if I click on this graph, nothing happens.
Okay.
If I click here, I want to make some changes, system will not allow me to do any change. Okay. Now, if even you won't be able to do it unless you unprotect it, put in the same password, and now you can do it. Okay. Now, along with this graph, you can change the graph format. This is the pivot chart tools. So any other formats that you want, 3D or some shaded, okay, something like this. Or you don't like this chart, you can switch to any other chart form. or you can make it like a vertical bar or a horizontal bar. How is it called it? Or you can make something called
these. Sir, can I take a 2 minutes break?
Okay,
I
sure,
just want
sure.
to use washroom.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead. How did I do it? I have this sheet. I right clicked on this. So I get a move or copy option.
Okay.
Click on it. I get the list of all the sheets. Where do I want to copy it? If I want to copy it to the same workbook, it's fine.
This you like done it through right click, right, on the mouse.
Correct. I can also move it to a totally new workbook.
Okay.
Okay. If I don't want to do it, I want to put it in the same book. I say create a copy, and at the end, I say move to end.
Okay.
And I say okay. See, I get another sheet, which is an exact copy.
Exact copy in the sense the values, formulas, everything would be there.
Everything would be there, and you need it because what happens with this Control C, Control V is if it is a very large sheet, you might miss out on some data.
Yeah, and even the formulas, values, they also get.
It's an exact copy of whatever you have there, and you don't have to bother. If I want it on another sheet also, on a new workbook, this is an existing workbook. I'll say move or copy. Right click, move or copy. Here there is two books, book 4, which is this book. Instead, I will say go to new book. And I say create a copy. Okay. So see, this is a brand new workbook without any of the other sheets.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me show you some more things that you can do with this. See here, when I copied it, I didn't choose this, but all this got copied as well. You were asking whether everything will get copied?
Yeah.
So I say insert pivot table and existing worksheet, and I choose this. And this is my branch. So I'll do a quick branch wise lookup and the amount. Do you have to calculate a maximum also? Minimum, maximum? You can do it.
I didn't like, no, I don't actually really work on pivot as such. Okay. Like this
only
is something
one table that you do, and then till the next month comes again.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's also a very generic thing which I have to do every month.
Yeah. Now, a lot of times, if you can, improvise, or if you can improve upon what you're giving, maybe that could be something that people will find interesting.
That probably could have been possible, but yes, because since I just have to take out the count, there is nothing much have to play because the data also which I get it from IT, the raw data, that also have only fixed number of things which I have to.
That's fine. See, I'm using the same data only. I'm not changing anything, right? Okay. Now let's see what all you can do. Now, along with this sum, I can get a max also. So I get a sum of the amount and I get an amount, which is the max. I get a sum and the maximum amount.
Yeah.
Or I'm using the same column again and again, mind you. The second one, I'm again going to change this to minimum. So the minimum business was 3,10,000, maximum was 3,70,000 from ATA. For CCU, minimum 12,000, 1,20,000, maximum 1,50,000.
Yeah.
Got it? Now, more interestingly, suppose I want to know the difference between the different branches. What normally people do is either they do it manually, or you want to have let's say something like no calculation is default. I want a percentage of the grand total of the business that they have generated. So this one is ATA is getting me 36%, CCU is getting me 10%, RPO is getting me 27%, RPO is getting me, RPD is getting me 25%.
Okay.
That the system is doing. We don't have to do any manual calculation. What about the differences between the branches? You can do a comparison in terms of show value as no calculation, percentage. You can see a difference. Difference from what? Difference from the previous value. So what it is showing? CCU is down by 17,20,000. Enlarge it. This is 1,72,000. This one is down. This is up 114,000 and 11,40,000. This one is down by 1,50,000. You can do a comparison quarter wise. You can do a month wise, depending on how your data is. Got it?
Yeah.
So here, the sum that you are seeing here, sum of amount 3, you can rename it. Okay. Now you do these pivot table like you said. Now suppose I want to know what are the data items that make up this 23,80,000. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
My question is, I want to know this. I know this is a sum, right?
Yeah.
But I want to see the individual rows of the data that make up this amount, 23,80,000.
So we have to check it through the row labels filter and
how
see it.
I want to see like 23,80,000. I know this is the breakup of this CCU, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see these 5 rows based on the data. How will I see it?
To click on the row labels, like the filter which you have added. You have to click on the row label filter option.
Like this. I want the entire data. the individual data item. Like here, if I see, I will see only ATA, but the total will be the same, right? But I want to see the rows that make up this amount.
So we will come on the pivot table fields like the box, and then we will select the the branches like the NBD offices under the label ATA.
Where? But here there is no NBDO selected, right? I didn't select NBDO here.
So if we select it, like if we add, make an additional row and then we can show it like that.
No need. No need. Here, all you need to do is do a double click.
Okay.
Were you aware of this?
No. So if I'm double clicking, so it is by default showing the data in a separate sheet.
Yes, in a separate sheet, and it is showing you the breakup of all the details of the original row, original data that you had.
Okay.
This is RPD. This one is ATA. This is my summary.
So it will create multiple sheets.
It can. And if I don't need it, I'll delete them. After I look at the data, I can remove it.
Okay.
So this is a very useful trick that you can use. Like a lot of times, after you make the total, you have to go back and review the data. It may not be in such a sorted fashion, right? It can be at any random order. Either you have to do again a filter, then select the data, and then do a count. That also you can do. Oh, these are the ones that are making it up. All right. Or if the table is longer, data is longer, you have longer number of values to select, right? No need to do all that hard work. Once your pivot is there, all you have to do is just wherever you are, wherever this total is, okay, like this, let's say percentage. If I double click this, it is telling me the rows that make up that percentage.
Total amount.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have to do anything. Means anything in the sense I just need to double click. Right?
Understood, sir.
Okay. Now, pivot table, I have shown you this. I've shown you this. Another thing. In case you have to do something like this, let me show you. Suppose you have let me pick some people. Okay, some people name at random. Okay, I have this employee data, and in place of let's say in my data, I have the names of the employee codes in this fashion, and I have their ages. Okay. Or I have their date of birth, let's say. It goes up to, if you see here, it goes up to row 394. Okay, so basically 394. So if I were to select this entire thing here and I do a fill series. Now, if I do a blank one, it will go all the way till the end. Instead, I'll put a stop value, okay, of 500. So what will happen? It will stop at, oops, oh, sorry. Okay, so why it was happening is I was giving a number, right? So the stop value should have been a date.
Okay.
So now what I get is I get some people born on different days, right? So it goes every month, right up to 1/1/1970. And then if I want it to go further, I can just go down all the way for another 394. So 12 months, 30. Need 30 months. Okay, now if I were to do the age of this, do you remember how can we do the age of this person in months?
Yes, we did that.
Yes, tell me.
By today, using today's formula.
As of today, whatever their day is.
Yes.
The ages.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Should I tell you the formula?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
oh,
waiting
you
for
are waiting for it. I heard you. Sorry. Yeah, equal to today. Yeah, and then we'll click the FX.
No. How will I get by today? Today will get me only today, today's day. But I need the age in completed years.
Dated if.
Yes, good. Then
we will select FX.
Actually, with FX, it will not help you much.
Dated.
But yeah, okay. Then what will I write? Tell me.
We will insert the date.
Okay. Date of birth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dated if. No, I'm not being able to recall.
You don't have it written?
Yeah, it is written. That is why I can tell you which formula could work.
But
that
after that, what? Dated if, then?
Number of days left.
No. Dated if will have three parameters. One is from date, one is to date. And the third parameter is that YM, YD, DM. So here you will write this in this way, comma. So it shows you in the date format, but if you were to change, because this is in date, if you want to make it number, the age of this person is 57.
Okay.
You want to note it down?
Yeah, that is what I am noting, sir.
Did you follow what I did?
Dated yeah, you selected the
from date,
dated if.
Today.
From date is obviously the date of birth.
Today and
from date,
Y.
Comma 2 days. Comma year. Okay. Yeah, noted. Yeah.
And then I select this. And I do Control D.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I were to, by any chance, like, if I had to change this for any particular data set, let's say, and I get 400 rows. So let's say Okay, so I get this entire thing here. Okay. All right, now oh my god,
entire thing as in I didn't get it, that this one.
see, it goes all the way till 1988 and 1989, and again it starts, you know, I had given it a date, right?
Yeah.
So
You're
what it,
giving the date of birth, right?
correct, date of birth.
Yeah.
And actually early first time what I had done was I had just quickly copied it, you know, to
Okay.
to use the same set of data so that I am able to at least calculate the age. But now what I'm trying to do here is I gave it date all the way till 1989. Okay, so that I am able to get some realistic data. So just like I get 55 also here, I will get some ages like 34, 33, you know, 30, 40, 41, so that the data looks more authentic kind of.
Okay.
I'll just cut this and I'll put it in another sheet. Now, out of this, I'm going to create a pivot chart, pivot table, sorry. So what will my pivot table be? I will delete the extra one. So this is my pivot table. I will say insert pivot table, say okay. And I want age, and I want age, let
Date
me, I
of birth.
want in rows, and I want the employee code as the count. So how many people in each age bracket?
Okay.
Got it? Now,
Okay.
when I'm doing this, I still find so many buckets, you know, where people are different. So what I can do is I can create a bucket like this by going and doing a grouping. What grouping does is grouping allows me to group the data into ranges that I want. Maybe I want this to be incremented by 5 every 5 years. So I get a smaller bunch like this.
Okay. So grouping helps in creating multiple ranges.
Ranges. I can get the data based on certain range.
Okay.
If you
Can you
remember,
just
yes,
can
I'll
you show
repeat that
this
step.
one?
If you remember
Okay.
what we did with that date in that data that you had you know, helped me to create, we had that date wise, what is the volume of business. Over there also the grouping was being done. Grouping is done in terms of month, quarter, years. Okay.
Yes.
So here what I did was I first created the data like this. Employee code, date of birth was there in my, let's say in my HR system or wherever. Using that date of birth, I created their age. I got their age.
Yeah.
Then based on this data, I created a pivot table. And let me put it in the existing worksheet now. First, I put a row wise age, and employee code, I'm putting it in values so that I'll get a count. Because I had already grouped this once, system by default did a grouping. If I don't want a grouping, I can ungroup it. System will show me all the data, the complete data. Age wise, how many employees? You see this? 12 employees. Who are the 12 employees? If you need to know, you can double click. You will get those 12 people. Got it?
Okay.
Now, if I want to group this, I will right click, say group, and this range that I am having, that 32 to 57, that is the lowest till the highest. If I want it to start from 30 and end at 60, I can do this in increments of, let's say, 10.
So, achha.
Got it?
You selected by 10, right?
Yes. 30 to 39, 40 to 49, okay. 50 to 60.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, it included both of them, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34.
Yes, I understood.
Yeah, 10. And it gives me the breakup. 85 people in this age group, 120 people in this age group, 179 people in this age. Now, if I were to translate this to your business, you can do a range like, which branch or which office is doing how well. You can group them into different groups. All using pivot table.
Yeah.
So the steps that I did here, I only had date of birth. So first I used the dated if formula to get the age. From the age, based on that, I created a pivot table. And then after the pivot table with the age in the row and the employee count of employee code, I right click and did a grouping.
Okay.
And then I get a total. You want to give it a shot?